Good morning.
Okay, so what we discussed yesterday, can someone recall it? Yeah. So any questions from previous classes, from yesterday class? Can you all hear me? Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yesterday we discussed some of the commands, right? Like find, grep, and some other commands. Today we'll start with the shell scripting. Okay, and with this shell scripting, so we'll be finishing Linux completely. Okay. I mean, today I'm uploading this softwares in this one, Teams. Maybe you can get in touch with the institute so you can download and install the systems. But so when you are ready to install, so just let me know. I'll guide you on installation. Okay. All right. So what is the shell scripting? So shell scripting is nothing but a programming itself, but we use all these Linux commands and group them together and put everything into a single file. Okay, and that file will be executed statement by statement. Okay, top to bottom. And in shell scripting, compared to other languages, right? If there is an error, so only the scope will be for that specific statement only. What does it mean? Okay, so let's say if there is any Python or Java program, so if there is an exception, right, the entire flow will be stopped. But here it's not like that. Okay, maybe if you have 10 statement and fourth or fifth statement that is giving error, that statement alone will be stopped and it will continue executing the other statements followed by that error statement. So in that case, you need to be careful when you are writing the shell scripts. Okay. All right. So basically what we do in shell script, so it's like a regular programming language only, but uh, this also has a similar kind of things like if else conditions, case statements, loops like a for loop, while loop. Okay. And you can even read and write into files. These are all will be there in shell scripting as well. So we will see all of these step by step. Okay. Uh, First thing, right? So how do we write shell scripts? What are the rules basically? Okay, so very first line that starts with this one, okay? And then followed by the different type of shell that we are using. User, bin, bash, or something. Okay, so this bash nothing but the type of shell that we are using. So there are like different shells. It is bash, ksh, psh, something like, so it's like 4 to 5 shells will be there, but most famous are these ksh or bash. Okay, this again it's a simple. This is called born again shell, but it is a k shell. One is a p shell. I mean pc shell basically. But anyhow, so don't look at this. Just interested. We are interested in this one. That's it. So how do we change? So if you wanted to use bash, just use bash. Otherwise, just ksh. That's it. So this will be used to execute our program. Okay. And then if you like to comment something, use this pound symbol. This is used for comment. Okay. But if you like to add multiple line comments, use for each statement, you need to add one pound like this. So all these statements are treated as command. Comments nothing but it just informational purpose, and these statements will not be executed. Clear? So that's the meaning of comment. You can add comments anywhere, and mostly right, we add these comments whenever you are writing something that is complex logic, and you explain them. So if somebody is, if you are not working, I mean, sometimes right. So if some other your colleague or someone wants to work on that script again or improvise the logic, right? So they need to understand what exactly you're writing, right? So that's the reason. So we use these comments to explain the logic, how we are coded actually, so that the other developer who is working on this one, maybe after some time, so they will get to know, so what exactly that you are working on, how the way you code it, right? That's the reason we use comments. And most importantly, when you assign variables, right? Basically, people used to do this one, but this gives us an error. Okay, this is an error because we shouldn't be having any spaces after the equal sign or before equal sign. There should be no spaces. So this is correct. If you use any space between assignment operators, right, that is an error. All right. Are you following me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what we are talking, so this is called, you know, shebang. Just remember that's it. So nobody will ask you this question, what is shebang or something, but informational purpose, just keep in mind. But this will drive, so which shell that you are using, and that will be used for executing all the statements. And how do we write the comments? We use pound symbol. This is a, we call it as a hash, right? So maybe you must know hashtags, right? So that is hash. It will be present on the keyboard on number 3. Basically, when you use shift 3, you will get this symbol. Okay. And again, assignment operators. So we should be using this way. No spaces before or after equal sign. Okay. Right. These are basic rules, and one more thing, if you wanted to know the statement written status of the last previous, I mean the recently executed command. So this is $question, basically, not this $question. So status of immediate previous command. Okay, if it is 0, means success. So non-zero, is error or failed. That's how we observe the statements that are executed. Okay, and command line arguments. Okay, so let's say I have this script.sh. Basically, depends on the shell that we are using. The script, I mean the shell script, right? The file name or extension will be this one, sh or ksh mostly. Okay, even though you use .txt, we can execute the programs, but it's not recommended. Okay, any file, even you don't keep any extension like txt or ksh or sh, that's okay, but it's a recommended way. That's a best practice use. And what is the type of the file? All right. And again, so command line arguments. What are command line arguments? Anyone know? If you are from any computer science background, you must be aware of this. So command line arguments, nothing but the parameters or the inputs that we pass from the command. So how do we execute these commands? Basically, I mean, this shell script simply this way. That's it. And if your file is somewhere, just give the path to the shell script. Okay, this way. And if you are using KSH, use case, whatever it is. Okay, this way we execute again. But anyhow, so if I wanted to give some inputs from this command line itself, we'll pass this. Okay, you just give like if it is expecting some inputs, right? Maybe it's a file.txt expecting or file2.txt. Okay, so these two all called command line arguments. Okay, but how do we represent them in the code, in the shell script? Okay, so basically we use them like this, $02. So it's like how many arguments that we have up to that, let's say n. But again, we need to remember $0 is always the shell script name, the file name that we have the code. In this case, what is the file name here? Script.sh. So $0 will be holding script.sh. Okay, and then $1 and $2. So $1 will be holding file.txt and this one holding file2.txt. Okay, are you following me? Are you with me, or you are having any difficulties on this one?
No, sir.
Right. So again, so I have assigned this variable here, a is equals to 10. And how do I access that variable a? Right. So basically, we use a dollar sign itself. We use $a to print a value of a or to access variable a. Right. So we'll see all of them with an example. Any questions on this so far? The very basics of the shell scripting.
No, sir.
Okay. And to print something on the console, we use echo. We discussed all this. And again, how do we write this? Yesterday we discussed, right, using shell scripts. Okay, using shell scripts. We code all these things. Even you can in real time, right? You will be having IDEs like Eclipse or IntelliJ or some other tools, and you code it, and through DevOps process, basically the deployment will be happen, and the tools will copy the scripts into your servers. You will not be doing this directly on the servers. But in maybe in a dev or UAT, you will be doing the test and you will be modifying or updating the codes, and then you will be pushing them into your tools or Git bucket. Right. So again, right, so there are some more things. So there are special meanings for this. Okay. So this is nothing but number of command line arguments passed. I mean we are submitting as an input. Okay. It will print all command line arguments enclosed in double quotes. See. And also you need to remember, so whenever we create a file, so if you like to execute, the file must have the script file. Script file must have executable permission, execution permission. You know, right? What is execution permission? These are all we discussed. If you remember, that read, write, execute, right? The last permission, that is 1. Basically, we use that 1, right? That should be available in the code. Otherwise, we'll not be able to execute. We'll see that example now. So I'm creating a file now, shell script. So demo.sh using, okay. As I was telling you, so we'll use this, and in dash I'm using. See, I was telling you, right? Some will not allow this. So I'm deleting them. And now echo command line arguments. Okay, I'm using dollar thread. Just saving it. That's it. So this is a simple script. So you see, there is no execution permit. There is no X, right? So I'll try to execute this. And still it's executed, but it won't execute because this is, because I am the owner, I'll be having that. But usually in real time, it will not allow you to execute that. But anyhow, why it is not giving anything command line arguments? Because we did not pass anything, right? So I'll do one thing. So I'm just simply write file.txt and file 2 dots or something, whatever it is. Okay, it is giving us whatever that we are giving. So what we used here, we are using this. And now, oh, sorry, I'll add one more statement here. Echo number of command line arguments, right? So this, and so first argument we access it through $1. I was telling you, right? And second argument $2. See, it is capturing this way. Command line argument that we passed everything as file 1 and 2. Okay. And number of command lines are 2 because this is 1 and this is 1. Totally 2. The first argument is this one. Second one is this one. Are you clear now what we are doing here? How are we accessing the command line arguments? Guys, come on. Speak up. So this is our simple shell script. Okay. So let's see an example of the command. I mean comments. So though you use this starts with a pound symbol, it's not treated as a comment. Okay, but I'll add something extra here. Okay, so I'm just adding again echo third argument, right? Third argument is what? $3. Okay, I'll pass one extra command now. So file 3.txt again, right? All right. See, even though I added this line, third argument as $3, it is not printing it, right? Why? Guys, speak up. This is very simple to understand. I was telling you, right? So when we use this pound symbol, so this will treat it as a comment. It is just informational purpose and the interpreter will not be executing this statement. So that is the reason we are not seeing this output on the console. Clear now? So basically, what are the use cases when we use this comment, right? Two things, I mean, in a real time, two things that we use. Okay. So whenever we write some code, right? So basically what we do, so we need to create a description. So, and who is the author, maybe the developer name and date when this was deployed that way. Okay. So how do we add them basically? So we use this only again, comments. And every time when a developer comes in and maybe working on the script, so we'll look at this description and who's the developer that worked on previously. So in case there are any issues or something, right? So if like to understand something, they'll just simply go and talk to this developer to understand more on the script. So this is one purpose, and the other purpose is adding comments on your code so that it will be very readable and the other developers to understand what you are doing or the way you are coding in the maybe functions or something like that. Okay, are you clear enough? So any questions so far on this? Guys, come on, are you there or not?
No questions.
Yeah, say at least you don't have questions. No questions, that's it. We'll go to the next step. Okay. Again, so all right. So now I'll do one more thing now. Okay, I will assign two variables now. A is equals to 10, B is equals to 20, and again A is equals to 30. So is this correct? Yes. Is this right or wrong? You are listening to the class, you must say the answer. Come on, guys, you are not picking up. You are not speaking up. I really don't know whether you are able to understand or not.
We should not give spaces.
Right? That is correct. We should not be giving the spaces. But anyway, let's see what is happening. Okay, even though we add spaces, right? So I'm printing A is equals to then $A. So what is $A now? So it's okay when we can print within double quotes as well. That works. And echo will print this information on the console. Basically, it's like a print statement, okay, in other programming languages, but here we use echo. And I'm using B is equals to $B, right? Echo A is equals to $A. Okay, I'm using demo.sh. Right. See here, it printed combine line arguments. We did not give anything, so that's the reason you see all the empties, right? And then 10, line number 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It is saying AA not found because we are trying to assign variable AA is equals to 30, but if we are using the spaces, it will not allow us to do something, right? And then, even though there is an error at this line, it continuing the execution and is printing A is equals to 10, B is equal to something, and it did not print anything. See? Why? Oh, yeah. So what is the reason here? Okay. So it should be double quotes. See now? It did not print anything. Got it now? So if you use spaces, it will not accept the interpreter, right? It will not be able to understand that. And sometimes in some scripts, I mean, this is a very updated version of Ubuntu and it will be having this terminal, right? In some cases, right, we are assigned this one. Maybe I'll note this and print this as something. Now you see there is no error and we'll be able to print this. But again, right, what I'm trying to say is in some cases, I'm saying you should be very careful when you are printing this. The reason is, Okay. So, this A is equals to 10. A is equals to 10. Okay. Do you know any similar thing here? How do I access variable A? Using $A, right? And how do I access $A? I mean the AA this way. You see, there is a similar thing here. In some interpreters, right? In some cases, it will be this will be treated as 10 followed by A. Let's say this is 20, right? Because in some cases, this will be treated and then it will feel like we are concatenating this A to the value $A. Are you getting me? It's like this. Some cases it will assume this. We are just adding this as a concatenation. Strings, just adding two strings together. Okay, that is the reason. So if you are using any variable, if that is having more than one character, put them in curly braces like this. Now this will treat as this is a variable and you would like to retrieve the value of this variable. This is a best practice. Okay. Any questions?
No, no, sir.
Okay. So basically we understood how to write simple shell scripts and how to write comments, how to assign variables, and how to print the output and how to read the command line arguments. Are we clear now? So far, I mean. So we are here. So we discussed what is shopping. So basically that starts with a pound, then followed by exclamatory symbol, and you will be giving the interpreter that you are giving or using for your code to execute. The comments we discussed, we use comments to describe the code or give the description of the code or something. And it starts with a pound symbol. And if you'd like to add multiple line statement, you'll be adding pound symbol for each line. That will be treated as comment. And one more thing, comments will not be executed. They are informational purpose. And command line arguments we discussed that starts with a $02, the number of parameters that were passing to the script, and $0 nothing but the shell script file name. Okay, and return code we'll discuss now. Okay, let me do this again. Okay. I'm just echoing return code is equals to $? We discussed this one, right? $? Why we use it. And I execute this now. Region code is what? 127. Why it is 127? Because it's predefined one given by interpreter, but whenever that assignment is not happening or it's not able to find that, we are getting 127. Similarly, if I use at the end, if you can just press Shift G, it will always take you to the last line. Okay. And now I'll print the same. Right. Now here, this is return code as 0, but here it is not. But why? Because, even though we are printing, we are trying to print this AA value, but it's not present. but why it is not giving us an error, right? So the thing is, whenever if the variable doesn't we defined or we did not define, so if you are trying to print that, it will always assume that it's empty, it's not available. That is the reason you see it's nothing is printed there. That means that variable is not in slides. That's it. It won't give us any error. Okay. So as I was telling you, so the return codes other than 0 that as failed commands or error commands. And if you see the return code as 0, so the previous command is completed successful. When I say $, this will give us the statement execution status of the last recent one. So what is the last recent execution statement here? This one, right? For this one, the $, will hold the return code 0, 1, 2 or something else. Are you following me? Okay. Now, so I'm trying to print these command line arguments, but I'm not giving anything. But still, this is getting executed. But how to control? So when a shell script that is expecting some command line arguments, but we are not passing them, but still it is executing, right? So how do I control? So until the user gives all the required commands, then only the shell script has to be started. How to control that? So what I'm saying is, right? You see, previously when we started, so we used to give 3 command line arguments and it's used to print command line arguments here, right? And then number of command line arguments we passed and first, second, third, everything it has to be printed. But now we are not passing anything and it's just printing empty statements here, right? But I don't want to be printing those empty statements, or I want this script to throw some error so that the execution will stop unless the user gives the command line arguments, right? How to do that? Any guesses? Someone told they know Python. Come on, guys, speak up. Who knows Python here? Raghunath Reddy, right? And you must know this answer at some point. Anyhow, so what we do is basically, so we use an if condition. So as we are expecting 3 or 2 command line arguments, I'll compare this $hash, right? It will be holding a number of uh, command lines that are passed from the input, right? I'll compare with that. So for an example, I'll make it as a first statement. If see, I'll talk to you, I mean, on this one, if else conditions maybe tomorrow, but I'm just telling you, so this way we can control it. I'm expecting 3 now. echo insufficient number of arguments and exit 1. Now I'll see, and even, if I print echo dollar question mark, will give us 1. So now I'm consoling it here, saying, so I'm just comparing. So I'm expecting 3 command line arguments, but you are giving nothing. And what I'm saying, insufficient number of arguments and exit 1. Exit 1 nothing but, so exit with the return code as 1. So that means, so the following, any following scripts or commands, if it is using this script, so that will understand. So that script is giving error, right? So this is a way that we handle this, okay? To control this actually. Okay, so now I hope you're clear, right? Whatever that we discussed so far. So we discussed until variable declaration and accessing the variables using $sign. And now let's discuss how do we read an input. Let's say I would like to give an input when the code is executing, right? So let's think how to do that. So demo2.sh. Right. Now I'm just asking echo what should I ask for? Something. Let's say anything. Enter any number. Okay. And I'll do using read. Okay. Using read, I'll read that value into a variable like any number. So number, I'll say number. Okay. And I'll print this $num. Let's execute this. So you can also execute the script using this way. Demo2.sh. Now you see it's saying permission denied. See, both has the same thing, but the behavior will change the way you execute. I'll do this now. Change mode a plus x demo2.txt. I mean sh. Now, so it is asking us to enter some input. So you give something on click enter, and it's printing that. So let me improvise this. Okay, echo is this, right? So this way. It is that simple. So if you wanted to read some input from the console or user, so just use read followed by the variable name that you want to use, and that's it. Okay. But again, so you need to handle this logic, and how do you validate the input again? See, I'll execute this, and it is asking for any number. I given you combination of characters and numbers. It's simply printing it, but it's not validating it. So that is user has to do that validation. So okay, they need to write their own logic. to validate whether it's a number or not. Otherwise, if you are trying to do some mathematical calculations based on the inputs that are getting in, right? So obviously they will give you an error, right? You cannot multiply or negate something with the characters. Okay. Any questions on this? Guys, any questions? Are you clear?
No, sir. It's clear.
Awesome.
Okay, so we will stop here, so we discussed very basics on this, I mean, shell scripting. So mostly like we covered reading input from user as well. Read user input also we covered. Okay, and tomorrow, so we'll cover some logical flows. The examples are like we will cover if else conditions, loops like for loop, while loop. Okay, I will some examples and how to generate log files. So whenever you write, I mean, you're writing something, executing something, right? It is very much needed that you will be printing the logs so that if there is an error, so you'll be able to read through logs and find out the error where it's occurring. That we will discuss, and mathematical operations or expressions. Okay. So with this one, right, mostly tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we will conclude this Linux session, and then we'll be starting with SQL. I mean, how to read and data from database tables, and what are the other operations that we can do on the tables, right? Any questions? Yes, any questions on today's class? So today we discussed very basics, but anyhow, we'll be discussing all the basics only here. We'll not be going through the very complex things. So to start with the shell scripting, this is very much needed. So if you know these loops, while loops and expression, how do we evaluate this expression, everything, right? You will be very much comfortable writing any shell scripts that comes into your way. Okay. And I just uploaded all these things. Not sure if that is completed. Yeah. So even I uploaded the softwares that are needed. Okay. This OVA, you need to install this VirtualBox and then import this OVA file. This is around more than 10 GB, 10.5 GB, I think. If you have a strong internet and download it, it will be just easy only. And Oracle DB installation. So this is for our SQL purpose. And I'll ask Institute to share these links to you so that you can download and install. If you are ready with the downloads, I will go through this process, how to set up. Okay. It's very easy only, just take 5 to 10 minutes. That's it. Because I did everything as needed. Okay. Any other questions before we close our class today?
No, sir.
Okay, then that's all for today. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.